Powered by Riverside FM.
Don't say I didn't tell you. Don't say I didn't tell you, UP Nation, Purple Gang, Skull Nation, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah still cooking. No one saw this Carson Wentz signing coming. This is the way they operate. There was not any leakage out in Egan. No one saw this coming. This is how the Minnesota Vikings work. This is how Kwesi Adofo-Mensah works. They work in the shadows. And I told you last podcast that the more steam that there is in one place, they're probably working in other areas of the franchise trying to get some things done. I do think the Minnesota Vikings will address the wide receiver position. I just don't think that it's going to be what everybody thinks it's going to be. This is the way they operate. Anyway, they bring in Carson Wentz, which I think is a genius move by Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. How they acquired Sam Howell in the draft, basically moving back. So you can essentially say they got Sam Howell for nothing. And then, I don't know, we will never know this. The Minnesota Vikings are never going to admit this, but it sent up a red flag to me that Sam Howell didn't play in the last preseason game. And whenever somebody doesn't play, whenever somebody doesn't practice, AKA Harrison Phillips didn't practice the day before he got traded, I thought that was weird. You know, there was no injury there, but it could have been like a veteran day or something like that. Harrison Smith and the fellas, they take veteran days where they just give them days off. So I thought that could have been it, but it turns out he was going to get traded. Same thing with Sam Howell. Sam Howell did not play in the last preseason game, and now we know why. The question is this like the second part of what Kwesi and KOC had been working on in terms of a trade to have some assets going forward? When you look at moves that they can make in terms of wide receiver, in terms of cornerback, I think wide receiver takes precedent. I think wide receiver is a priority, and I think they're going to address that, man. But this Carson Wentz move, getting back to that really quick, man, is a great move for the Minnesota Vikings. They trade Sam Howell to Philadelphia, so now Sam Howell is in Philadelphia, and what this does, it really stabilizes the Minnesota Vikings quarterback room. I mean, think about this. I think Brett Rippon is going to be out. I think he's going to be out. And now you got Max, you got Carson, you got JJ. Man, that's a pretty solid quarterback room. That's a pretty solid quarterback room. I think Carson Wentz is going to be QB2. I mean, there's no doubt about that. He's the most experienced quarterback in that room. I don't think Max Brosmer has shown enough yet to be QB2. I think if Sam Howell was on the roster, you could kind of make that case. But Carson Wentz, a little bit more experience, been around, done that, has about 90 starts in the league. Pretty decent quarterback. Stabilizes the room. Wentz, he brings a rare blend of starting experience and familiarity with Kevin O'Connell's offense. He previously worked with Sean McVay and the Rams, who also Kevin O'Connell came from. He's got 98 games, I believe it is, that he started. Over 22,000 passing yards is Carson Wentz, and a completion percentage of about 63%. Now, we all know that Carson Wentz can make some boneheaded plays, but to have that amount of experience, to bring that amount of experience into your quarterback room with J.J. McCarthy there, I think it's a great move for Kwesi Adofo-Mensah while acquiring some third-day picks when you probably were going to cut Sam Howell anyway. I mean, it's a genius move by Kwesi. I said it in the last podcast, man. These are the areas where Kwesi really excels. He's a Wall Street guy, making deals, signing free agents, getting on the phone. He's a great recruiter. Look at his UDFAs that he's been able to bring in. He's been, subpar in the draft. Some of these things have to play out in the draft. We keep mentioning that, man. But I knew that once the chaos starts in terms of people getting down from that 90 to about that 53-man roster, this is where Kwesi Adofo-Mensah excels. And they're really excelling at keeping things in-house. Like I said at the beginning of this podcast, man, nobody saw this coming. And again, they're very good at the okie doke. And so my one thing that just kind of worries me about the whole Adam Thielen thing, and I really want Adam Thielen on this team, is that there's so much fodder and talk about it. There's a lot of steam. And I just don't think when that kind of stuff happens, Like I said before, that means the Minnesota Vikings are probably working elsewhere to make these things happen. So what are some of the advantages of having a guy like Carson Wentz? Number one, if JJ McCarthy, God forbid, knock on wood, were to go down, you've got a guy that has that experience that can come in and lead your football team. He brings a lot of, not only is he a stopgap, but he brings a lot of mentorship, positive mentorship for JJ McCarthy in the backup role. So you can't argue with that. This trade gave the Minnesota Vikings flexibility and assets. How this plays into the long-term plan for the Minnesota Vikings, I don't know, but it gives them that flexibility. Wentz joins McCarthy and Brosmer on the depth chart, again, making that quarterback room a little bit more solid. And he has that synergy with Kevin O'Connell's system. So I think it's a great move. I think it's a big move for the Minnesota Vikings. I knew something was brewing. The chaos is not over, UP Nation, Purple Gang. The chaos is not over. By Tuesday, this team could look different in so many ways. I do think the Minnesota Vikings are looking to add possibly another cornerback, and I do think wide receiver is a priority. Who that wide receiver is going to be, I have no idea. But if you would have told me that Carson Wentz would have been on this team a couple days ago, I probably wouldn't have believed you. I probably would have said they would have either put Max Brosmer at the QB2 position, or they probably would have stayed pat, cut Brett Rippon, kept Sam Howell at the number 2, and have Max be the number 3. But good move by the Minnesota Vikings, man. Just wanted to jump on. Kwesi is cooking. And again, I'm telling you, where there's smoke, there's fire. But Kwesi adofo-mensah is cooking again. KLC and the guys, they are working the phones. Don't believe the okie doke that you hear in publications. Because I'm telling you right now, nothing is coming out of Egan that the Minnesota Vikings don't want to come out of Egan. That's for sure. Carson Wentz, a Minnesota Viking. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Only takes a second, and we will see you when we see you. Carson Wentz, Minnesota Vikings, QB2. Go.